Question comes from Properties and Changes in Matter homework, Part B. And I'll just do a couple of these up here. First one is going to be this one right here. And it says a 10-gram sample of lauric acid can be melted by adding heat. I have to identify this as a physical or a chemical change. If I represent lauric acid as a general compound, this is not exactly what it looks like with the atoms. But I'm going to have a compound here, and I'll fill this one in. Let's let that represent my lauric acid. And then I'm going to have a couple of these when it's in its solid form. So a couple of them touching. So what we have here is that right here is a molecule of lauric acid, right here is a molecule of lauric acid, and right here is a molecule of lauric acid. Now, when we go ahead and heat this, or melt it, what happens is that the lauric acid molecules, which were in a lattice before, are now kind of starting to spread out a little bit. They'll be towards each other. As you can see, they've kind of rearranged, changed shape. They're flowing back and forth. But I still have lauric acid, even though it's in a different state. So since I still have the lauric acid, I would call this a physical change. And why? Well, I still have the lauric acid. It hasn't changed. So based off this, I would put in still have lauric acid. Molecules. They have not changed. Okay, their spacing has just changed. Their arrangement has changed. And the next one I'll do is this one right here. Sodium metal explosively reacts with water to form hydrogen gas and sodium hydroxide. Now for this one, I'll draw it down here. We have sodium metal. So we have atoms of sodium. Each one of these circles represents one atom of sodium. Now, when I combine it with H2O, I'm going to write water. This is what I'm going to use to represent water. So I basically get my sodium plus my water. And what I'm left with then, after I put the two together, is hydrogen gas. Now you don't need to know how to draw this. I'm drawing two circles. But putting those two together results in hydrogen gas and sodium hydroxide. So we got something like this. Now, this is the sodium. This one will be the oxygen. This is the hydrogen. This is the sodium hydroxide. But what it really means is I have two new compounds out here. Right, the hydrogen gas up top and the sodium hydroxide in the bottom, where I started out with sodium and water. So this is in fact a chemical change. And you could write in here, new substances are formed in reaction. And by the way, it says that heat is also given off, right? It says it's explosive. You could also say in here that heat given off by the reaction. Right? Either one of those will work. Oh,